Success leaves clues and failure leaves clues too. If you study the lives of people who consistently achieve extraordinary results, you'll notice something powerful. They don't just focus on what to do. They are equally committed to what they refuse to do. Their success is not built only by positive actions, but also by the negative habits they eliminate from their lives. Every day they make choices that move them closer to their goals, and they avoid behaviors that steal their energy, time, and potential. The first thing successful people never do is blame others for their circumstances. They understand that blame is a trap. The moment you point your finger at someone else, you give away your power. Life is not always fair. Challenges appear unexpectedly. People disappoint you. Opportunities are missed. Yet successful individuals focus on what they can control instead of what they cannot. They ask better questions. Instead of saying, why did this happen to me? They ask, what can I learn from this? They understand that responsibility is the foundation of personal power. The moment you take ownership of your life, you gain the ability to change it. Successful people also never allow fear to make their decisions. Fear is natural. Every person experiences uncertainty, doubt, and anxiety when facing something new. The difference is that successful people act anyway. They do not wait for confidence to appear before taking action. They know confidence is built through action. Every breakthrough begins with discomfort. Every achievement begins with uncertainty. They understand that courage is not the absence of fear. It is the willingness to move forward despite fear. While others stay trapped in their comfort zones, successful people step into the unknown and discover opportunities waiting on the other side. Another thing successful people never do is waste time comparing themselves to others. Comparison is one of the fastest ways to destroy confidence and motivation. There will always be someone richer, smarter, faster, or more experienced. Instead of measuring their progress against other people, successful individuals focus on becoming better than they were yesterday. They understand that everyone has a different journey, different challenges, and different timelines. Their attention stays focused on growth, improvement, and execution. While others are watching competitors, successful people are building skills, creating value, and moving forward. Successful people never let temporary failures define their future. Most people experience a setback and immediately conclude that they are not talented enough, smart enough, or lucky enough to succeed. Successful individuals see failure differently. They view it as feedback. Every mistake contains a lesson. Every setback contains information. Every obstacle reveals a weakness that can be strengthened. They know that failure is not the opposite of success. It is part of the process. The most successful people in any field have failed more times than most people have even tried. They develop resilience because they understand that persistence often matters more than talent. They keep moving forward long after others have given up. They also never spend their lives waiting for the perfect moment. Perfection is an illusion that keeps people stuck. Many dreams die because people spend years preparing instead of executing. They wait for the perfect opportunity, the perfect economy, the perfect plan, or the perfect level of confidence. Successful people understand that progress beats perfection every time. They start before they feel ready. They learn while doing. They improve through experience. They know that action creates clarity. Every step forward reveals the next step. Momentum is created by movement, not by endless planning. Successful people never surround themselves with negativity for long periods of time. They are extremely careful about the people they allow into their minds and lives. They understand that attitudes are contagious. If you spend your days with people who complain, make excuses, and focus on problems, eventually you begin thinking the same way. Successful individuals seek environments that encourage growth, learning, and possibility. They choose relationships that challenge them to become better. They expose themselves to ideas that expand their vision. They understand that the quality of their environment often determines the quality of their results. Finally, successful people never stop learning. The world changes constantly. Industries evolve, technology advances, opportunities emerge. People who stop learning eventually stop growing. Successful individuals remain curious regardless of how much they have already achieved. They read, study, listen, ask questions, and seek knowledge wherever they can find it. They know that the greatest investment they can make is in themselves. Skills can create opportunities. Knowledge can solve problems. Growth can transform limitations into strengths. They approach life with the mindset of a student because they understand that continuous improvement creates lasting success. When you remove blame, fear-based decisions, comparison, surrender to failure, perfectionism, negativity, and complacency from your life, something extraordinary begins to happen. Your focus becomes sharper. Your confidence grows stronger. Your actions become more intentional. Your results start to change. Success is not a mystery reserved for a lucky few. It is built through daily choices, disciplined habits, and the willingness to think differently from the crowd. Every day presents a new opportunity to choose the behaviors that move you toward the life you truly want. The question is not whether success is possible for you. The question is whether you are willing to stop doing the things that keep success out of reach. One of the most important reasons successful people achieve extraordinary results is that they refuse to blame others for their circumstances. They understand a simple but powerful truth. The moment you blame someone else for your problems, you give away your power to change them. Blame may provide temporary comfort because it allows you to avoid responsibility, but it also keeps you stuck exactly where you are. Successful people know that growth begins when excuses end. They recognize that while they cannot control everything that happens to them, they can always control how they respond. Life is filled with challenges that nobody can completely avoid. There will be setbacks, disappointments, failures, unfair situations, and unexpected obstacles. Sometimes people will break their promises. Sometimes opportunities will disappear. Sometimes hard work will not produce immediate results. Most people react to these situations by looking for someone or something to blame. They blame their boss, the economy, their family, their education, their background, or bad luck. While these factors may influence their circumstances, successful people choose a different path. They focus their energy on finding solutions rather than assigning blame. The reason this mindset is so powerful is because it shifts attention from what cannot be controlled to what can be controlled. Imagine two people facing the same problem. One spends hours complaining about how unfair the situation is and how someone else caused it. The other asks, "What can I do next?" Even though both people started in the same place, their outcomes will eventually be very different. One remains trapped in frustration while the other moves toward progress. Success is often determined not by the challenges you face, but by the way you respond to them. Successful people understand that responsibility is not about accepting guilt for everything. It is about accepting ownership of your future. Ownership creates power. When you take responsibility, you stop waiting for someone else to rescue you. You stop expecting circumstances to magically improve. You begin making decisions that move your life forward. Every action becomes a vote for the person you want to become. Instead of saying someone needs to fix this, you begin asking, what can I do to improve the situation? History is filled with examples of people who overcame enormous disadvantages because they refused to see themselves as victims. They faced poverty, rejection, discrimination, failure, and countless obstacles, yet they continued moving forward because they believed they had the power to influence their future. Their success did not come from having perfect circumstances. It came from refusing to surrender their power through blame and excuses. This mindset also creates emotional strength. When you constantly blame others, you become dependent on them. Your happiness, confidence, and success seem tied to what other people do. But when you take responsibility, you develop resilience. You realize that no matter what happens around you, you still have choices. You still have the ability to learn, adapt, grow, and improve. That realization builds confidence because confidence is not created by having an easy life. It is created by knowing you can handle difficult situations. Every successful person eventually reaches a moment when they decide to stop focusing on what is unfair and start focusing on what is possible. They understand that excuses may explain a problem, but they never solve it. The most powerful question you can ask yourself is not, who is responsible for this, but rather, what am I going to do about it? The answer to that question has the power to transform your future and unlock opportunities that blame could never create. Another habit that separates successful people from everyone else is that they never allow fear to control their decisions. Fear is one of the most powerful emotions human beings experience. It has the ability to stop action, limit potential, and keep people trapped in situations they desperately want to escape. The difference is not that successful people are fearless. They experience the same doubts, worries, and uncertainties as everyone else. The difference is that they refuse to let fear become the leader of their lives. They recognize fear, acknowledge it, and move forward anyway. Many people spend years waiting to feel completely confident before taking action. They believe that confidence comes first and action comes second. Successful people understand the opposite is true. Confidence is created through action. Nobody feels completely prepared when starting a business, changing careers, speaking in public, or pursuing a big dream. Uncertainty is part of the process. Those who achieve great things do not wait for fear to disappear because they know it rarely does. Instead, they develop the courage to act despite their fear. Fear often disguises itself as logic and caution. It tells people to wait a little longer, gather more information, or prepare more thoroughly. While preparation is important, fear can convince someone to stay in preparation mode forever. Countless dreams never become reality because people spend their lives planning instead of doing. They keep waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect opportunity, or the perfect level of certainty. Successful individuals understand that perfection does not exist. They know that action creates momentum and momentum creates results. One of the biggest fears people face is the fear of failure. Many individuals avoid pursuing their goals because they are afraid of making mistakes or looking foolish. They worry about what others might think if things do not work out. Successful people view failure differently. They understand that mistakes are not evidence of incompetence. They are evidence of effort. Every achievement requires a willingness to risk failure. Every innovation, breakthrough, and success story contains moments of uncertainty and setbacks. Rather than seeing failure as something to avoid, successful people see it as a necessary step toward growth. Another common fear is the fear of rejection. This fear prevents many people from asking for opportunities, building relationships, sharing ideas, or chasing their ambitions. They assume rejection means they are not good enough. Successful individuals understand that rejection is simply part of life. They know that every no brings them closer to a yes. Instead of allowing rejection to destroy their confidence, they use it as feedback and motivation. They realize that temporary rejection cannot define their worth unless they allow it to. Fear also causes people to underestimate their own capabilities. It convinces them that they are not talented enough, smart enough, experienced enough, or qualified enough. Successful people challenge these limiting beliefs. They recognize that growth happens outside the comfort zone. Every skill they possess today was once something they did not know how to do. Every accomplishment they achieved began as something that seemed difficult or impossible. By taking consistent action, they expand their abilities and prove to themselves that they are capable of more than they originally believed. The most successful individuals understand that fear will always exist whenever something meaningful is at stake. Instead of viewing fear as a stop sign, they see it as a signal that they are moving toward growth. They refuse to let temporary discomfort rob them of long-term success. They understand that courage is not about feeling strong all the time. Courage is making a decision to move forward when uncertainty is present. Every time they act despite fear, they become stronger, more confident, and more prepared for future challenges. Over time, this willingness to act becomes one of the greatest advantages they possess, allowing them to reach opportunities and achievements that many people never experience because fear convinced them to stay where they were. Successful people never waste their energy comparing themselves to others because they understand that comparison is one of the fastest ways to destroy confidence, happiness, and progress. In today's world, it is easier than ever to compare your life to someone else's. Social media constantly displays people's achievements, lifestyles, possessions, and success stories. Many individuals spend hours looking at what others have accomplished, begin to feel that they are falling behind. Successful people recognize this trap and refuse to let it control their thinking. They understand that their greatest competition is not another person, it is the person they were yesterday. Comparison often creates a false picture of reality. People usually compare their behind-the-scenes struggles to someone else's highlight reel. They see the rewards, but not the sacrifices. They notice the success, but not the years of hard work, failures, disappointments, and persistence that came before it. Successful individuals understand that every person is on a unique journey. Different people have different starting points, opportunities, challenges, talents, and life experiences. Because of this, comparing one life to another rarely produces a fair or accurate measurement of progress. When people become obsessed with comparison, they often lose sight of their own goals. Instead of focusing on what truly matters to them, they begin chasing what impresses others. They measure success according to someone else's standards rather than their own values. Successful people avoid this mistake. They spend time identifying what they genuinely want from life and then direct their energy toward achieving those goals. They understand that fulfillment comes from living according to their own purpose, not from competing with everyone around them. Another danger of comparison is that it can create feelings of inadequacy. No matter how much someone achieves, there will always be another person who appears to have more money, more influence, more experience, or more recognition. If happiness depends on being ahead of everyone else, true satisfaction becomes impossible. Successful individuals recognize this reality. They know that success is not a race against other people. It is a process of continuous self-improvement. They focus on becoming stronger, wiser, more disciplined, and more capable than they were before. This mindset creates motivation without creating unnecessary stress or resentment. Comparison can also lead to jealousy, which is a destructive emotion that steals energy from productive action. Instead of learning from successful people, many individuals become frustrated by their achievements. Successful people take a different approach when they see someone accomplishing great things. They become curious rather than jealous. They ask questions. They study habits. They look for lessons they can apply to their own lives. They use the success of others as proof that greater possibilities exist rather than as evidence that they are falling behind. One of the most powerful habits successful people develop is measuring progress against their own potential. They regularly evaluate how much they are growing, learning, and improving. They celebrate small victories because they understand that major achievements are built through consistent daily progress. Rather than focusing on where others are, they focus on where they are headed. This creates a sense of purpose and momentum that comparison can never provide. Successful people know that every minute spent comparing is a minute not spent creating, learning, or improving. They understand that attention is one of their most valuable resources, and they guard it carefully. Instead of looking sideways at what everyone else is doing, they keep their eyes focused on their own path. They recognize that true success comes from maximizing their unique abilities and opportunities. By refusing to compare themselves to others, they free themselves to grow at their own pace, build confidence through genuine progress, and create a life that reflects their own vision rather than someone else's expectations. One of the defining characteristics of successful people is that they never allow failure to define their future. They understand that failure is an event, not an identity. Many people experience a setback and immediately begin to believe that the setback reflects who they are as a person. They fail at a business venture and think they are a failure. They make a mistake and assume they are incapable. They face rejection and conclude they are not good enough. Successful individuals refuse to adopt this mindset. They separate what happened from who they are, and this distinction gives them the strength to keep moving forward when others give up. Every meaningful goal comes with obstacles. Anyone who attempts something significant will eventually encounter difficulties, mistakes, disappointments, and unexpected challenges. There is no path to success that is completely free of setbacks. Successful people accept this reality. Instead of being shocked by failure, they expect it to be part of the journey. They understand that growth requires experimentation, and experimentation naturally includes mistakes. Rather than seeing failure as proof that they should quit, they view it as information that can help them improve. One reason many people struggle after experiencing failure is that they focus entirely on the emotional pain instead of the lessons available. Disappointment can be powerful. It can create frustration, embarrassment, and self-doubt. Successful people acknowledge these emotions, but they do not stay trapped in them. They ask productive questions. They want to know what went wrong, what can be improved, and what changes need to be made moving forward. This ability to learn from setbacks transforms failure from an obstacle into a valuable teacher. History provides countless examples of individuals who achieved extraordinary success only after facing repeated failures. Inventors, entrepreneurs, athletes, artists, and leaders often encountered rejection and disappointment long before achieving recognition. What separated them from others was not extraordinary luck. It was their willingness to continue despite setbacks. They understood that every attempt brought them closer to mastery. Every mistake revealed something new. Every challenge strengthened qualities such as patience, resilience, determination, and adaptability. Successful people also understand that fear of failure is often more damaging than failure itself. Many individuals never pursue their dreams because they are terrified of making mistakes. They avoid risks, remain in their comfort zones, and settle for less than they truly desire. Successful individuals recognize that avoiding failure often means avoiding growth. They would rather try and learn than spend years wondering what might have been possible. They understand that temporary setbacks are a small price to pay for long-term achievement. Another reason successful people recover quickly from failure is that they maintain a long-term perspective. They do not judge their entire future based on one bad day, one poor decision, or one disappointing result. They know that success is built over months, years, and sometimes decades. A single setback cannot destroy a dream unless a person decides to stop pursuing it. This perspective helps them remain patient and persistent even when progress seems slow. Resilience becomes one of their greatest strengths. Every challenge they overcome increases their confidence. Every setback survived proves that they are stronger than they once believed. Over time, failure loses its power to intimidate them because they have learned that they can recover, adapt, and continue moving forward. Instead of seeing obstacles as roadblocks, they begin seeing them as stepping stones. Successful people know that failure is not the end of the story. It is simply one chapter in a much larger journey. They refuse to allow temporary setbacks to determine permanent outcomes. By learning from mistakes, maintaining perspective, and continuing to take action, they transform failure into a source of strength and create opportunities that would never have existed if they had chosen to quit. Successful people never wait for the perfect moment to take action because they understand that perfect moments rarely exist. One of the biggest reasons people fail to achieve their goals is not a lack of talent, intelligence, or opportunity. It is the habit of waiting. They wait for better conditions, more confidence, more knowledge, more money, or more certainty. They convince themselves that someday everything will align perfectly, and then they will begin. The problem is that someday often never arrives. Successful people recognize this pattern and refuse to let it control their lives. They understand that progress begins the moment action begins. Many people believe they must have everything figured out before they start. They want a complete roadmap, a guarantee of success, and confidence that nothing will go wrong. Unfortunately, life does not work that way. The future is always uncertain. There will always be risks, challenges, and unknown factors. Successful individuals accept this reality. Instead of demanding certainty, they develop the ability to move forward despite uncertainty. They know that action creates clarity. The answers they are looking for often appear only after they take the first step. One reason people wait is because they fear making mistakes. They believe that if they can prepare long enough, they can avoid failure altogether. Successful people understand that mistakes are unavoidable. Every expert was once a beginner. Every successful entrepreneur once made poor decisions. Every great leader once lacked experience. Skill is developed through practice, not through endless preparation. The sooner a person starts, the sooner they begin learning valuable lessons that cannot be gained from theory alone. Another danger of waiting for the perfect moment is that opportunities often pass by. The world moves quickly, markets change, industries evolve, and circumstances shift. People who hesitate too long frequently watch opportunities disappear. While they are still planning, successful people understand that speed matters. They are willing to make decisions with incomplete information because they know that waiting indefinitely can be more costly than making an imperfect choice. They trust their ability to adapt and adjust as new information becomes available. Successful individuals also recognize that confidence is not a prerequisite for action. Many people assume they need to feel confident before taking a risk. In reality, confidence is usually the result of taking action repeatedly. Every small success builds belief. Every challenge overcome increases self-trust. Every step forward proves that growth is possible. If people wait to feel confident before they begin, they may spend years standing still. Successful people start first and allow confidence to grow through experience. The pursuit of perfection is another reason many individuals delay action. They want their plan, product, presentation, or idea to be flawless before sharing it with the world. While striving for excellence is valuable, perfectionism often becomes an excuse for procrastination. Successful people focus on progress rather than perfection. They understand that improvement happens through feedback, adjustment, and continuous effort. A completed project that can be improved is far more valuable than a perfect idea that never leaves the planning stage. Momentum is one of the most powerful forces in achievement, and successful people know how to create it. They understand that action leads to more action. Once they begin moving, energy increases, ideas expand, and opportunities become visible. Small steps often lead to major breakthroughs that could never have been predicted at the beginning. What seemed impossible starts to feel achievable because progress builds motivation. Successful people refuse to allow hesitation to steal their future. They understand that time is one of their most valuable resources, and every day spent waiting is a day that can never be recovered. Instead of asking whether conditions are perfect, they ask whether they can take the next step. They know that extraordinary results are rarely created by people who wait. They are created by people who act, learn, adapt, and continue moving forward long before they feel completely ready. Success is not determined by luck, talent, or circumstances alone. It is shaped by the choices we make every single day. The most successful people in the world are not necessarily those who do more than everyone else. Often, they are the ones who refuse to engage in the habits that hold others back. They refuse to blame others for their problems, refuse to let fear control their decisions, refuse to compare themselves to others, refuse to allow failure to define them, refuse to wait for the perfect moment, and refuse to stay trapped in negative environments or stop learning. These decisions may seem small in the moment, but over time they create extraordinary results. The good news is that these habits are not reserved for a special group of people. Anyone can adopt them. Anyone can choose responsibility over excuses, courage over fear, growth over comparison, persistence over failure, action over procrastination, and learning over complacency. Every day presents a new opportunity to make these choices. The future you desire is not created by what you intend to do someday. It is created by what you decide to do today. If you are willing to eliminate the behaviors that keep most people stuck and commit yourself to continuous growth, there is no limit to what you can achieve. Your success begins the moment you decide that your dreams are more important than your excuses and your actions become stronger than your doubts.